My name is Colleen, and this is my kitchen. I've struggled with my weight my entire life. After trying every diet in the book without any success, I came to the realization that diets don't work. I started my journey at a size 26W, weighing just over 300 pounds. In almost a year and a half, I've lost over 120 pounds, and I am a size 14. No W. What's my secret? Eating healthy and moving more. Now I'm here to show you how you can cook healthy food without compromising on taste and lose weight just like I have. Because if I can do it, you can too.
Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Well, it's chilly outside, there's great powder on the mountain, and after a day on the slopes, there's nothing better than an après-ski meal or an after-ski meal of something that's really rich and warm and hearty that's going to fill you up and leave you with a nice warm feeling inside. And so the dish that I have for you today is absolutely perfect. It completely fits that bill. We're going to be making a chipotle turkey and sweet potato stew. So we're going to be combining some smoky and spicy chipotle peppers with really lean turkey cutlets and sweet potatoes for a stew that is just out of this world good. I think you'll really enjoy it. So let's get started on it. And it's going to start, I'm heating my pan over medium here. And to that pan, I'm going to want to go ahead and add a tablespoon of olive oil. Let's let that warm up for a little bit while we get our onion ready. And I have here a red onion. I'm just going to use half of it, put the other half away for another use. Go ahead and trim off that outer layer. And then I'm just going to dice it up really easy. Once I have that all chopped, I'm going to go ahead and add that to my oil. And I want to let it cook until the onions are caramelized, which means that they'll be really gooey and nice and brown. And this takes a little while. It's kind of a long process to caramelize onions. It's going to take about 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer. So while that starts cooking there, let's start prepping the rest of our ingredients. One of the vegetables that we're going to prep are our sweet potatoes, of course, and I have here 1 pound sweet potatoes that I went ahead and peeled, and I'm just going to trim the ends off of these, and then I'm going to cut them into about 1-inch cubes. So what I like to do is cut the potatoes lengthwise, give myself a flat surface, and then cut them again lengthwise and chop them up just like that. A nice little cube. And I'm going to set these aside for right now because we'll use them just a little bit later once our onions have cooked up. The next item that I'm going to prep is 1 chipotle pepper, and all a chipotle pepper is basically a smoked red pepper. And it comes in a little can that also has adobo sauce in it. So I'm also going to use 1 teaspoon of that sauce eventually. So all I'm going to do with this pepper is just mince it up. I want it to be fairly fine because I really want it to infuse the entire soup and add just little flecks of color throughout it. Again, I'm not quite ready to add this to my pan because my onions are still cooking, so I'm just going to set this aside for right now. So the last thing I'm going to prep here is my turkey. In this bowl, I have 3 tablespoons of unbleached all-purpose flour, and then I have 1 pound of boneless, skinless turkey breast cutlets. And this is a super lean cut of meat. why I like to use it in this particular stew. And there's just something about the mixture of sweet potatoes and turkey. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these cutlets into about 1-inch pieces and put them right in that flour. The flour, by coating it with the flour, it's going to help keep it moist so it doesn't dry out in the stew, and it's also going to add as a thickener for the stew as well. Our onions are nice and gooey and all browned up, so now what I'm going to do is take this turkey and just toss it in that flour, make sure it gets really well coated. And again, the flour is just going to help protect the turkey, keep it nice and tender in the stew, and then it will also help to thicken up the juices in the stew. So once I have that tossed and coated, I'm just going to add the whole thing right to my pot. And what I want to do is cook it just for about 2 minutes, just to sear the outside of the turkey so that it's no longer pink. I still want it just a little pink in the middle though. The turkey is just no longer pink, and I've got lots of little crusty stuff stuck at the bottom of my pan. So now I'm going to go ahead and add a 1/4 cup of a dry marsala cooking wine. And you'll find that marsala cooking wine in either dry or sweet. You want to make sure to get the dry, and that's because we want it to reduce down in here. It has a really nice sweet flavor, but the dry has a little less sugar in it, so it reduces down better than the sweet marsala cooking wine. So what I'm doing is just taking my spoon and scraping up all the crusty bits off the bottom of the pan, because that's where all the flavor is. And that cooking wine is reducing down really fast. So the pan is drying out. So I'm going to go ahead and add in 4 cups of a homemade salt-free chicken broth. If you buy my Soups and Stews book, which is available for the Kindle, the Nook, the iPad, and any other e-reader format you can possibly imagine from my website, you'll find in there some recipes for your own homemade chicken broth, and as well as some other types of broths. It's very, very easy to make yourself, and it lets me better control my sodium intake, because even the reduced sodium broths that you buy in the store are really high in sodium. So it's better to make it yourself. It's also easier, and it's also cheaper. Okay, so I've got that broth in there. Let's go ahead and add those sweet potatoes that we cut up earlier. As well as that chipotle pepper and the adobo sauce that we also cut up earlier. Remember, it was 1 chipotle pepper and 1 teaspoon of the sauce that they come in. And then I have 1 can of roasted green chilies. And these are really great. They're mild, they're not spicy. They add a great flavor as well as a really nice pop of green color to the dish. Go ahead and add some seasoning. I'm going to add just a pinch of coarse sea salt here. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of cumin, and the cumin really plays off of that chipotle pepper to create a really nice smoky flavor to the dish. To play off the sweetness of the sweet potatoes, I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of honey. You could also use like an agave syrup. The calorie difference is pretty much nothing, but you can use a little bit less of the agave syrup because it's a little bit sweeter. And then my secret ingredient is cinnamon. I'm going to use just a dash of ground cinnamon, just like that. It just adds a certain hint of spice to it and really plays off the sweet potato and the honey and then the spiciness of the peppers to give it a little extra flavor. And then the last thing we're going to add to our soup is some sage. I have here some fresh sage. Once it's chopped up, it'll equal about a teaspoon. I like to add this in because it just works so well with the turkey and the sweet potato. It adds this great kind of mild, earthy flavor to the dish. So I'm just going to mince this up. Once my sage is chopped, I'm just going to go ahead and add that to the pot. Stir that in. And then the next step is just to bring this to a boil. And then I'm going to cover it, reduce it to a simmer, and let it simmer for about 45 minutes until it's nice and thick and the sweet potatoes are really tender. So I'll see you back here in a little bit, show you how I serve this up. Our Chipotle turkey and sweet potato stew has cooked up just beautifully here. I'm going to take a bowl of this, go sit down and enjoy my meal. How pretty is that? I hope that you'll give this recipe a try for your next